Hello, and a very warm welcome to the late-breaking F1 podcast presented by Harry Eade, Sam Sage, and me, Ben Hocking, here for a little non-race weekend Sunday, Sam.
It's lovely to be here on a little Sunday. No races, very sad, but we're getting closer to Texas, and that means we're going to be in America.
Yeah, 2 weeks we'll be there.
2 weeks tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll be flying away.
I can't believe it. We're doing all sorts of things. So anyway, we're going to get onto that. We're going to bore you enough. We're here to talk about non-Texas related things because this is a non-race weekend and we've still got loads to talk about.
We do indeed. We've got Show Me the Options coming up later on. We've also got some comments from Christian Horner about George Russell. But we introduced something in the summer break. We introduced 3-word summaries. And at that point, we were looking at how impressed we were from the teams to that point. We're now looking ahead a little bit. We are back to 3-word summaries. We're going to go through the entire grid. We're going to go constructors-wise. We're going to go from the top, McLaren, all the way down to the bottom, Sauber. So starting with McLaren, we'll each give like we did last time, we'll each give our 3-word summaries, and then we'll delve into why we've picked those words. Sam, what's your 3-word summary for McLaren?
Okay, McLaren, I've got don't look back.
All right, Mr. Gallagher. Harry?
That's me.
I've put no pawpaw rules.
Could be 4, but we'll allow it.
Pawpaw
rules, no.
My 3-word summary for what McLaren should focus on for the rest of this year is don't get complacent. So we've both started with don'ts, Sam. Explain yours.
Yeah, they finally tipped themselves over into the lead of the constructors, of course. It looks like Lando Norris is properly getting his act together and is on the hunt for the drivers. Now is the time to just take that lead, take that domination that you've started to see finally, and just keep running with it. Don't hesitate. Don't sit there and go, oh, maybe we need to fit. No. Don't look at anyone. Keep doing it. Whatever you're doing is correct. You're hiring the correct personnel. The team functions brilliantly. You struggled with pawpaw rules, and you've now got rid of pawpaw rules. So it's just keep going as you are. Keep pushing forward. Plow through to the rest of the season. Both championships are 100% there for the taking. Let's not trip up under our own shoelaces here. You can deliver on this. It really can happen. Keep running with it. Don't look back at what everyone else is doing. You just do you. That's where kind of my 3 words is stemming from.
Don't get too distracted by the other teams, essentially.
We've seen it before, right? What are they upgrading? What are they doing? What strategy? No. Your car is good enough. Your drivers are good enough. Just complete the season. Just run it the way you should until the end of the year.
I understand. I mean, they've got into the position that they're in for a reason, so it would not make it would make sense not to deviate from that. Yeah. I completely understand that logic. Harry, no more pawpaw rules, according to you.
Mine is a serious point, and it kind of relates to what Sam just said. My description of their season so far of fast but silly relates to this too. Don't go there, Ben. But
never again.
But this is to say, don't be silly. Don't do anything like papaya rules. Don't get complacent and concentrate on other teams. You're in a great position. You've got the best car now. Just stick to it. Don't get distracted, because we've seen it a couple of times this season where papaya rules being one of them, where they've been a bit fast but silly. So yeah, that's my meaning behind that.
Do you think they've retired the phrase? Like, even if they end up using team orders, have they retired the actual phrase papaya rules?
Yeah, because I think Ron Dennis has sent us a lawsuit or something. He's probably got some say in the McLaren team still, and it's like, you're not allowed to do that. Not under my watch.
The worst. It comes out of nowhere. Ron Dennis out of nowhere. The worst part about this McLaren team, and it's pretty much the only bad thing about them, it's the cringe radio. Just stop. Just deliver normal radio messages.
Why is Andrea on his shoulder? What does that mean?
Why have we got pawpaw rules now? Like, stop all of it. Just say, move out the way. Swap positions.
Normal words.
Be calm. Concentrate. It's all normal and it's acceptable. You don't need to write a poem every time you do a team radio.
Orlando, what do you think about the weather radar that's actually in front of me? Like, God, their team radio still annoys me. Yeah, I've gone with don't get complacent. I think this is something we're going to chat about on the next Patreon episode, is what McLaren need to do in terms of their upgrades, because they still have the potential to bring more upgrades. And I think there's a natural hesitancy about, should we just stick with what we know works, which is our current car, or should we keep developing? I think they've got to keep pushing. Because there's still a lot to play for, right? There are 6 races to go, but that includes 3 sprints. And when you think about 3 sprints, that's probably worth about 1 race by itself, if not slightly more, maybe if you're finishing 2nd or 3rd. So 7 races, 20 years ago, that would have represented half a season. So we do still have a lot of points to play for. My potentially dodgy math says that there could still be 309 points available for one constructor. That's a lot. The gap's not that big. So we know that retirements can rear their head at the most inopportune of times. McLaren have been pretty lucky to this point. The only retirement they've had was, and even this wasn't technically a retirement because he was classified, but Lando Norris at the Austrian Grand Prix. Other than that, they haven't had anything. So mechanically, they haven't had a DNF so far this year. You never know when the first of those might be around the corner. And of course, whilst they have been dominant at some races, Singapore last time out, Hungary, they were pretty dominant, Zandvoort, they were pretty dominant. For every one of those, there's been a Monza and there's been a Baku where they've still been very competitive, but they haven't had an outright advantage over one of their rivals. Who's to say that the next 6 might be more Monza and Bakus, in which case there is the chance it tightens up. I think in all likelihood they have got this sewn up by now, but weirder things have happened in F1, so they can't get complacent. Moving on to Red Bull. Of course, the last time we went in championship order for these 3-word summaries, they were first. They're no longer first, Sam. What's your 3-word summary?
Well, I quoted Mr. Gallagher in the first one. I'm quoting the Klaxons in my second one.
Nice.
It's not over.
Nice. Another good Klaxons reference.
Absolute banger of a band.
Yeah, banger of a song.
So true.
Great. Harry?
I've put make Sergio faster.
God, can't wait to get to that one. My 3-word summary: wings need mending. Wings.
Oh,
I've got it. Yeah, very good. Bull, no? Very good. Yeah.
Sam?
That's what it says on the tin, right? Or on the can, if you're Red Bull. It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. Max Verstappen still holds the League of the Drivers' Championship. They are still within pretty much, a 1-2 finish away from regaining the Constructors' Championship. The car is struggling. We've seen the car slowly fall away from the top band, but Max Verstappen is a once-in-a-generation talent. Sergio Perez has proven at the likes of Baku that he can still be very quick. He just needs to consistently do that now more so than not be quick, which for him does seem to be a struggle. I'm sure Harry will get onto that in more detail soon. And they need to be finishing more regularly at the very top than in the midfield of the points section. The titles haven't completely gone. Whilst I do think the Constructors' Championship is going to be a really difficult grasp for them, it isn't impossible. And whilst the Drivers' title is still in their hands, it kind of is falling their way a little bit. Max Verstappen keeps needing to pull blinders out the bag, but it is there. So support him. It's not over. You could still take something home. They need to prioritize Max. They need to make sure that the team is working towards him, get the absolute best position possible. They need to be naughty and use things like RB to steal faster laps off their rivals. I don't like the process, but if it helps them to win, and it's technically within the rules right now, keep doing it. You may as well. So it's not over. Don't lose hope. Keep fighting. There's only 6 races left. How many have we got left now? It is 6, right?
6.
Yeah, it's 6. 6 races to go. You can still get something out of this season. Do not get downbeat because you've lost the league for the first time in about 3 seasons.
At what point do you think that Red Bull might have to concede that the Constructors' Championship is not within reach, at which point they turn their attention fully to securing the drivers for Verstappen? Can you see that happening?
I can. For me, I think they'll give it at least till after Texas, because you never know if we do get, as you already mentioned, another Baku or another Monza, where especially Baku, right? Sergio Perez has said the entire time, it's only because of the crash that he didn't score those points. And the fight would be so much closer in the Constructors if Sergio Perez did score those points. So if Texas is an absolute whitewash, if McLaren run away with a 1-2, Norris wins by 20 seconds with Piastri behind him and they're not on the podium, That's probably where you bite the bullet and go, we ain't winning this. Even if we have an absolute blinder, we're probably not putting this back now. But I reckon hold your heads up at least for both until after Texas, and you've got to keep pushing, Max, because that's still winnable for you.
And I would assume as well that you would, if you're Red Bull, you would take a Verstappen Drivers' Championship over a second place finish in the Constructors, as in like they might be at risk of third, obviously. I feel like the Drivers' Championship comes before securing second place in the Constructors' Championship. In the
a wing's a wing. A wing is a wing.
Yeah. Harry, make Sergio faster or better? I mean, they kind of mean the same thing, but
faster.
Same thing. I am fascinated to hear what your methods of achieving this are.
Yes. Look, I'm not trying to be harsh on Sergio here. I think he's clearly got issues with this car. He's been saying it for a while. And whether we fully blame that on the car or on him remains to be seen. But Max Verstappen, doesn't matter. He'll do a great job for you. Doesn't matter. If you want to try and win, and again, there's only a certain amount of time I think they can keep doing this before they need to just ditch the constructors and concentrate on the drivers. But if they want to still try and go for the constructors, do everything they need to do everything they can to make Sergio faster. Is where I'm coming from here. Whatever he needs, is it a confidence boost? Does he need an arm around him? Do they need to do things to the car that are more suited to Sergio? Do what you can, because we know what Red Bull are like, i.e. they get rid of drivers pretty easily, Daniel Ricciardo. They're quite cutthroat when you're not performing well, but they need him. They need him to perform well if they want this championship. So if they want any hope of the constructors, make Sergio faster is what I'm saying, and that's not criticism of him. He clearly needs all the help he can get.
Yeah, and I've gone for wings need mending, because I'm not saying they should abandon 2024 just yet, but equally they need to start thinking about what 2025 and onwards looks like. And certainly Ricardo for Lawson is one of those steps, but I don't think it's the only one. 2024 has been a tumultuous year for a number of reasons. It started out obviously with scandal. It's a lot of key personnel have left the team, one of which we're going to be discussing later on in the show. And I think it's unlikely at this point that they will get first place back. But if you're looking towards next season, let's say it carries on and they don't have a dominant car like they had at the beginning of this season, then you're probably going to see the same thing happen again. So they need to at least make some changes with other teams. You know, you look at McLaren, Norris and Piastri are settled there. That's a great lineup. You look at Ferrari have almost got like past, present and future sorted in that they've got Hamilton, Leclerc and Behrman. Like they're looking good as well. And Red Bull, it feels like they're still slightly directionless. So at the end of this year, they need to work out a few things like how do we secure Max Verstappen long term? And with our junior drivers, who are they and what's the timeline for getting them promoted? And until they have that, my confidence in Red Bull remains quite shaky. Ferrari, Sam, 3 words.
Yeah, for Ferrari, I've got don't do Canada.
That's a great idea. If you don't remember, folks, that was a double retirement, which gets you no points in this sport. I've gone for 2-win target. Harry?
I've gone for stop wasting potential.
Love that.
I like that.
Sam, kick us off.
Well, Harry's kind of summarises mine in the sense that Canada was where it started to really fall apart for actually what looked like quite a positive season. I think it was you that put this on social media, right? You kind of think if you take the 5 races without those 5 races after Canada,
after Monaco, yeah.
Thank you, Canada, yeah. They're 9 points clear, right, of both, was it Red Bull and McLaren? So they're having a great season. And it feels like this mid-season flop has absolutely cost them. Well, 6 races to go. The car is there. The car is able to perform, right? They were pretty close to a victory in Baku. They managed to win Monza. I think they were pretty quick in Singapore, but qualifying let them down. I really think they could have had a double podium if the cars were right for them. 6 races to go. The car and the driver lineup is really, really strong. Perhaps the strongest other than McLaren here. They could really claw something out of this. Second place in the constructors, 100% on the cards. First is possible if it falls apart from McLaren. It genuinely isn't completely out of reach. A difficult task, yes, but impossible? Good Lord, no. Wings are available. Podiums, multiple podiums are available. Just don't do what you did in Canada, which was apply pointless upgrades, muck up your strategy, end up with a double retirement. That classic Ferrari nonsense where we all say in the podcast, we so back. We don't want to be back. I want to keep going. I want to keep running away. So, Ferrari, don't do Canada. Just be good the last 6 races.
Harry, potential, don't waste it.
Please don't. Sam's going to summarize what I was going to say, but I mean, Singapore, another example where they should have been further up in qualifying, and I think it cost them. Leclerc's pace was actually
definitely a podium, right?
Yeah. Well, Fernando Alonso reckons they're going to won it, so.
If Alonso says something, he must be right.
The man who was only 3 seconds behind Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, which implies that he could have been on the podium.
I was in the fastest car, and I was just behind the car that should have won.
I would have won.
Oh, goodness me. But they had really good, Leclerc at least had really good pace. And actually, I think Sainz did, I know he had a terrible start, but his pace was very good considering how long he went on those tyres, which was 3 days. So Singapore's another example where they threw away what was potentially a good result for them. So, that sums it up. They could be way further up in this championship if they hadn't had races like Singapore, weekends like Singapore, races like Canada. So, remainder of the season, Ferrari, don't do that.
Don't do that. I've gone 2-win target. I'd like to see them win 2 of the last 6. I think that would be realistic. And I think it would take 2024 from like a slight improvement on 2023 to a good improvement on 2023. That would also give them 5 wins on the year, which would match the amount they had in 2018, which I think a return to that is a step forward. The other thing I'd like to see them do is challenge for second place in the Constructors' Championship, see if they can get that away from Red Bull. To be honest, I'm less fussed about whether they do that. I'm more fussed about how they approach it in terms of head-to-head. How do you strategically get by them? That's the sort of thing we've always questioned Ferrari on. So those are the things we need to see improved. But they just need 2 out of the last 6 wins. That would give them, I think, a good sense of optimism going into 2025, which is what they need. Mercedes, Harry.
Mercedes, I've put time for 2026.
Fair. I've gone with form needs finding. Sam?
I've gone with eat the crumbs.
Sure.
It's like Eat the Rich, but just a more manageable version. Just
minor appetite. Maybe got a tummy ache.
Okay. Harry, you're already thinking 2 years ahead.
Yeah, look, they've had their best year of this rule set. No doubt about it. In terms of wins and pace, Mercedes, but it's still not been great. And yes, they obviously there's next year still, but it's time if you want to start winning again. Or I know they can't really do anything to the car until next year, but just all your concentration, all your eggs into 2026 now, because that's if Mercedes really want to be back. I think that's the year they're gonna be back if they do it right. So they're not really doing much now. Like they're there or thereabouts, burglaring a couple of wins or podiums. But that's not what they want. It's not what they want. Where they want to be. I'm sure they'd like Hamilton to have a send off with another last win for Mercedes, but in the long term, they've got to think 26. So I think this is what they need to do now.
Yeah, I've gone with form needs finding. This, I was looking at their results earlier. It's been a bizarre season for Mercedes because it's almost been like 3 stages. Stage 1 was the first 8 races where they had no podiums. The second stage, 6 races, next 6 races, 6 podiums, 3 of them are wins. And then you've got the last 4 races where they've had just 1 podium again. And that was Russell at Baku, which, let's face it, that was looking like it was going to be 5th until 3 laps to go. So they started very poorly. They got there, and then they've kind of drifted back again. They have been on the cusp quite a lot this year. I've always felt like they've had a gear missing compared to some of these other teams around them. And I'd just like to see them get back in the fight. Even if they don't win another race this year, if they're in the fight for wins, I think that's better than what they've shown the last few races. And of course, it coincides when they put the upgrades on the car as well. They were going to put the upgrades on at Belgium. They took them off. They won that race. And then they pushed ahead with these upgrades after the summer break. They haven't really worked. So it'd be good if they understood those. Sam?
Yeah, essentially a combination of what the two of you are saying here, in the sense that I think they're missing a gear. I think that little spell that we saw feels like the anomaly rather than the norm for them. I don't think they're going to be able to get up to the pace of McLaren, Ferrari, even Red Bull, who are still struggling and coming through quite a tumultuous time. So eat the crumbs. These teams are dropping points off the sides of their tables. They are making mistakes. They are not perfecting their races. They're not finishing as high as their cars allow on a regular basis. Mercedes need to do what Mercedes have actually done for the majority of this current regulation period, and that is be the ones to steal the podium, be the ones to be in the right place at the right time, much like we saw with George Russell at Baku, or with how the teams have planned different strategies previously. Same at Austria, for example. Be the ones there to pounce when mistakes are made, because I really don't think on raw pace alone, on raw strategy alone, on setup and understanding of their car alone, they are able to compete at the moment with the other three teams. So they have to do the other thing, and that is wait for mistakes and pounce. So eat the crumbs.
Good stuff. We've got through 4 teams. I think we'll take our first break on this episode, but we've still got 6 teams to go. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Time for Aston Martin. Harry, 3 words for them.
Make Alonso happy.
Oof. Realistic expectations. Come on, Harry. I've gone with clear the pack. Sam?
Funny enough, mine is also Alonso related. It says, get to Alonso's.
Somehow that's more unrealistic than Harry's one.
Goodness me.
Harry, how do you make Alonso happy?
You feed him chocolate buttons. No.
That is not the answer.
That's me.
Yeah, that's me.
We have 20 years of evidence. That's not the answer.
Look, they're not going to make him truly happy, but I think if you can give him a car that will at least, for now, get into the points, give him something to fight with, that will just tie him over. It's not where he wants to be, evidently, but tied him over for the rest of this year, maybe into next year. He knows the longer-term goal is 26. I think his mood's lifted slightly since, obviously, Newey's announced now. Just give him... And you can sort of tell he seems a little bit happy on social media because they're in the fight. We've got a long way to go, all that jazz. But I just think when he's got a car that is at least... Now we can fight. If he has a car that can fight with the top 10. I know it's still the lower end of the top 10 currently, but at least he's in that mix. For a Ferrari was only 3 seconds up the road from him in Singapore. Just keep him happy. Keep him happy.
Sam, you're going to Poundland trying to find another Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, 2 for 1, please. So I'll go by 4.
For a pound.
Honestly, I think they need to be looking for a Stroll replacement. We've said it so many times throughout this season that if they had 2 Alonsos in the car and they're essentially doubling the points tally, so essentially, Alonso's points times 2 rather than what Stroll has plus Alonso's, I'm not saying that they would be progressing themselves up the table, but every single race that we get, every single championship fight they have, they stand such a better chance of being competitive, fighting for longer, pushing themselves forward. You only have to look at what Colapinto has brought to Williams this season over Logan Sargent to see what a difference it can make. The whole team feel buoyed. They all feel excited. They're being pushed forward. They're motivated. Aston Martin are permanently stuck with 50% of a weight tying them down. It's like they've got a dumbbell tied to their left leg. It's never going to be successful. You're never going to win a running race when you've got a dumbbell on 1 foot. And Alonso's there with his Nike trainer trying to run as fast as he can. And Stroll's there with a 20-kilogram weight just being dragged along behind. Like, anywhere else, Stroll could be very, very good. I believe that very much so. But he's holding that team back. The car, of course, will change and develop when Adrian Newey comes in. That bit's settled. It's just going to take time. But what's the point in having the best designer in the world if 50% of the team can't actually use the tools they're being given?
I've gone with clear the pack because whilst they are finding a way, or let's face it, Fernando Alonso is finding a way to be the head of that midfield, it's not very easy, is it? Barring any very weird circumstances, this team is stuck in 5th this year. I mean, they're not going to get anywhere near Mercedes at this point, but realistically, they're not going to get caught by anyone behind them either. Fernando Alonso, he was, I think, the leader of the midfield in both Baku and Singapore. So he is getting himself into those positions, but he is having to fight off the likes of Albon, Colapinto, Hulkenberg to get those results, I think Aston Martin would be at least somewhat satisfied if it was a little bit easier for him to do that. And that might also get Stroll at least back into the conversation as well, because as the car has got worse throughout this year, Stroll has also got worse. Like he hasn't scored in his last 5 races. There's only 4 drivers that haven't scored in their last 5 races. Tsunoda, who, let's face it, Stroll yeeted out of Baku, and the 2 Saubers. So, along with Stroll, obviously. So, getting him back in, at least in the fight for these top 10 positions, would be a small victory for Aston Martin for the rest of this year. RB. Unless replace Daniel Ricciardo is written down, then that one's already done. So, you can forget that one. Harry, 3-word for RB.
Rewind to March.
Great.
I'm not sure they want to do it all again, mate.
No, I'll explain myself in a minute.
It brings out the bloody TARDIS. Sam?
I've gone full Essex for this one and just said, sort it out.
How are you spelling
at?
I've actually written it down how I spell it, so I remembered, and it's AAAAAOOOOUT.
I didn't realise there was no. I thought it'd just be at.
Like one of those rain sticks you turn over and they go, oh.
What is the opposite of ASMR?
Anyone in America, blink twice if you understand what just happened.
Don't restrict it to America.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, fair enough.
My one is top 10 Tsunoda. That I'll explain in a little bit as well. Harry, go and kick us off.
When I say rewind to March, I just mean regain the form that RB had in March.
Top 5, mate.
Top 5 swing?
Oh, no. But, the start of the season, at least for Tsunoda, the car was better and they were scoring some points. They need that form back because at the moment, Ricciardo issues aside, the car's a bit poopy. And it's not been good for a while. Ever since they brought those upgrades on. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Been terrible since that moment.
Spanish Grand Prix.
Yeah, take him off.
Doom since.
Take him off. But yeah, they're regaining that form from March. They've also got a new driver coming in with Liam Lawson. Time to regain some form and some points.
Yeah, I've gone top 10 Tsunoda, which is alliteration, even if it doesn't sound like it. I don't really care if they finish 6th or 7th because, quite honestly, I don't think they care. Which, from an individual basis, that's not fair because I'm sure the individuals within the team will want to finish it. I mean, more from like a macro organization level. They don't really care about which position they finish in. And that's why I've gone for more of a personal achievement for Yuki Tsunoda instead. He's currently 12th in the Drivers' Championship on 22 points, but he's only 2 points behind Stroll in 11th and Hulkenberg in 10th. If Tsunoda was able to overhaul both of those drivers and finish for the first time in the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship, that would represent a good year. And in fairness, even if he doesn't do that and he finishes 12th, that would still represent his best year in F1 to this point. So he would need to overcome a poor car. To your point, Harry, 18 races, we can just split it down the middle. First 9 races, the team had 28 points. Second 9, 6. It hasn't been very good. And they've got none in the last 4 as well. So obviously the second seat, Liam Lawson, maybe we have to manage expectations with him because it's so late into the season. But with Tsunoda, at least, I'd like to see if he can kick on. Sam?
Yeah, sort it out. If you're going to make this mid-season swap, a 3/4 season swap with Daniel Ricciardo to Lawson, you need to commit to the full bit, right? At the start of the season, we've already mentioned it, there's some 5th places on the cards. We'll be there. No, cars are a load of rubbish. Your development's in the bin. You've got no idea what you're doing with that development. You've made a change in the driver. Red Bull as a family are in turmoil. They're all over the place. Don't just be resting on your laurels that you've gone, cool, we've made a driver swap. You're not going to be good enough because you'll come back in a year's time and you'll find that, why isn't Liam Lawson absolutely smashing this? Why is he not regularly inside the top 10? Tsunoda was all right at the start of the last year. Where is he at? You need to fix so many ground-rooted issues that are causing you to struggle. Do not just rest on a driver swap. The car needs a changing in direction. I think the hierarchy maybe needs some readaptation. Get a new sponsor and a new team name, for Christ's sake. Honestly, I agree with you. I don't care if they're 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever it might be. Take this opportunity. Go become fresh. redo everything, and then you can enter 2025, hopefully a bit more positive and with a direction.
Next team, in the immortal words of Live Laugh Latifi, Haas.
Oh, it's still so good.
Nice.
Sam, what have you got?
Hit and miss.
Harry?
Let Hulk cook.
And I've gone with Komatsu's Sixth Sense. Sam, go ahead.
A lot of their season so far has been very hit and miss. It seems that one track they'll turn up to and both cars will be pushing for the points on a regular basis, especially Hulkenberg, who has been phenomenal this season. And, K-Mag's had his moments. K-Mag really has been box office in certain moments. And yet sometimes they'll turn up and the car can't seem to get out of Q1 barely. They can't seem to get close to the points. It seems they very much don't understand. Well, now they've got past the tyre problem, they don't seem to understand what the positives and negatives of their car actually are. And even tracks that they think they might not perform at, something they do perform at. And it's quite bizarre for them to see their direction of form. They're very up and down. So for the final 6 races, stop being hit and miss. Stop having this uncertainty every single time we turn up to a racetrack and just start to work out now as we go into the new season. Because I realistically don't think that Haas care if they beat Williams or RB, or if actually RB at Williams, or whatever. I think they're like, actually, I think they'd rather go into 2025 and go, we're consistent, we've got direction, and we're moving forward. And now is the time to work that out and to judge it. Just try and get some consistency in the bag and understand your developmental direction. You've got drivers signed as well. It feels like you're going in the right direction. Just get the car bit right.
Yeah, I've gone with Komatsu's Sixth Sense because I do think sixth is there for the taking. And nice. They're only 3 points behind RB. And I do agree with the overall notion of if they were to finish 7th, it's been a far better year than any of us thought it was going to be. We will replay our preseason predictions at some point, and they won't be pretty because we all thought they were going to suck. We all thought they were going to be 10th, and that's not going to happen unless Sauber really, really have a great end of the season.
And win the last 6 Grand Prix.
I've just realised I've forgotten Sauber on my list. That's savage.
Oh, no. 3 words, Pete. I've forgotten.
Yeah, I forgot you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do that.
But yeah, I think 6th is there for the taking. And actually, since they struggled a bit between Hungary and the Netherlands. But since then, they've been a bit better again. So Monza, they only scored a point, but they probably should have scored more. Of course, Magnussen had the penalty, which cost him 1. And Hulkenberg should have been in that mix, and he wasn't. Baku, they only scored a point again, but both drivers were in the mix there. And of course, last time out with Hulkenberg in Singapore, he scored 2 points. So again, they're only 3 behind RB, who are not doing a very good job. So that position is there for the taking. If they were to finish 6th, that would be their second best result ever as a team, only beaten by 2018. And if they were to claim 7 more points, which again feels realistic, that would be their best result since 2018. So it's fair play to Komatsu. He's cooked. Harry?
Mine is just Nico Hulkenberg is working for Deliveroo at this point. He is delivering. And Haas just need to give him, A, the car to do it. As you said, Sam, sometimes it's a bit hit and miss. And B, the strategy. We saw in Singapore they got a little bit outfoxed when they probably should have been higher up, at least in front of Alonso. So, yeah, K-Mag, he's checked out, I don't know what he's doing. But Hulkenberg is your man here, and you've only got him for a few more races. Give him the tools to do the job, because at the moment he will deliver it for you.
Williams. Sam, what have you got?
Season just started.
I've gone with avoid driver drama. Harry?
I've gone for keep going, lads. Brackets. And lasses.
Is lads spelt with an S or a Z?
A Z, obviously.
Correct. Thank you. You can stay. Sam?
Yeah, season just started. What a wasted first half of the season it was. We said it so many times. Why did you keep Logan Sargent in the car? This is even an insult at Logan Sargent, right?
The car wasn't there either, right?
No, the car wasn't there either. But at least in the moments where it was, if you had 2 fully running drivers that actually could compete, like you do now, you could be a bit closer to the likes of Haas and RB. Genuinely, you might have stolen the odd point away from them earlier on in the season, and then you might have had proper chances to move up to the likes of 6th or 7th in the championship. It's still an uphill battle for you. The car is now starting to get better. It looks like they've found their developmental direction, which is fantastic. Colapinto, What an absolute Riz King. Absolutely love that little guy. And I hope he keeps delivering. Albon, he's having a whinge at the moment, but for the most part, he is still delivering. And you've got to respect the hustle he's had to put in a car that's been bloody terrible. It's just so frustrating that only now, with about 6 races to go, they finally found their feet. They finally got the direction of the car moving. They finally feel like they're a unified side there. The Sargent decision, I think, will haunt them for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I've gone with avoid driver drama. The car is looking much better than it has at any point in this season, and it bodes well for next season. I'm not too fussed about whether they've left it too late to catch RB or Haas at this point. It's all about the future. So, yeah, and it looks good for the future at this stage. I'm not sure how much. There might just be a few nerves at Williams creeping in about Colapinto, because it is, as we've said before, it's a good problem to have. In that, if anything happens to the other 2 drivers, you know you've got a great driver to step in. But that's if he's matching Albon, which he has to this point. Like Baku, Albon narrowly beats Colapinto. That was only Colapinto's second race. If Colapinto head-to-head starts beating Albon, I'm not saying that will affect the decision for next year, but Albon's going to start feeling a little bit, even if he has no reason to be, a little bit hot under the collar. Like, he's going to be, don't love that.
Especially if Sykes turns around next year and wallops him.
Yeah, I think Williams will kind of be hoping that we're really glad Colapinto's doing well, but we kind of need Albon to be at least as good as him. And we haven't seen Colapinto be better than Albon yet. That hasn't happened, but it might.
It's quite close though, isn't it?
Well, it was close in Baku, and we never really saw it in Singapore.
And Monza's a write-off.
We'll discard Monza completely. 6 races to go, 3 sprints still to go. There's a lot of track time. Albon just needs to be, at the very least, on a level playing field. And I think he will, but there might just be a few nerves. Harry?
Mine's sort of in line with yours, Sam, in that, you've got a car now, you've got your driver lineup sorted, you've got a car now that seems to be working. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing, keep pushing on. Like I said to Ben, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference if they can catch RB and co in the remainder of the season, but just from a confidence and morale point of view, it's been a tough year for Williams off the back of what was looking like an improving trajectory. This one's been a bit of a dip, I think, and if they can finish it on a high, then that'll be a good thing moving into 25.
The penultimate team we'll be looking at, or the last team, if you're Harry Eid, Alpine. Sam, what have you got?
Scrap heap challenge.
Fair. I've gone with powerless and confused. Oof. Harry?
I've put give up, gang.
Give up, my guy. 4 words, but we'll allow. Sam, what have you got?
Scrap heap challenge. Much like the game show that used to be on television, it feels like they're driving around saying
what a show that was. Sorry
what
about
a show
that.
that was. It was so good. So good, banger. Bring it back. It feels like they're driving around in an absolute heap that's got no direction. It's been built out of old parts that someone's chucked together in a workshop. And actually, the foreboding news, of course, that they are selling off pieces that are quite integral to the overall French contingent that is the Renault Alpine team. They need to consolidate. They need to get their act together, and they need to work out what's their identity, what are they aiming for, what are the directions they're going to take. Stop scrambling around in the dark. Stop trying to find the light switch. Walk out into the sun and work out where you're bloody going with this now. 6 races to go. The season's a write-off. But at least you've got Gasly locked in. And I'm sure Jack Doohan will be all right. At least he's got a rookie year in a time where you can start to rebuild. But get your direction sorted. The rest of the season could be a write-off. It doesn't really matter. But just stop mucking about trying to fit on new parts so you ain't got a clue what they're doing with no bloody staff members. So get a plan together. Take your time with it and actually action upon it, please.
Harry, I'm not sure you should give up the day job to pursue motivational speaker, but what's your 3 words?
Give up, gang. Alpine gang, give up on this year because it's been terrible. Come back next year. Maybe come up in 2026. I don't know. This year's been a write-off, and the last few races aren't going to be any better. I'm sorry to say. No podiums in 2024, I don't think.
Nope. Have they had a top 8?
I don't know.
They've had some knives, but I don't even know if they've had a top 8.
I'll go with no. Yeah, it's not been one to write home about. And my point is I just don't see it going to get. Some weekends are a bit better, like say you might score a point or two. The rest of the time they look like garbage. So just give up on this one.
They looked okay enough at one point. You remember, I know Monaco didn't go very well for them, of course, particularly Esteban Ocon, who, doesn't have a job anymore. But around that time, they were quite consistently getting some Q3 appearances, and they were fighting with Aston Martin. You remember Miami, Ocon and Alonso were quite close there. Like, there was something, and then it's just gone away again.
I lost it again.
Yeah, well done, Alpine. I've gone with powerless and confused because they are powerless and they don't know what to do about it. I could have said something to do with them scoring points, but honestly, I just don't have any faith in them to do so. I've put them under pressure for the last 2 races, and it's amounted to nothing. So I'm done with them in terms of a performance standpoint. But they just need to make a decision on what they're doing in terms of these power units. I would, of course, much rather they stay as a true constructor, a true factory team. But either way, make your mind up, because it is just causing panic, striking, distress within the team. It's not good for anyone. So, Flavio, make you cool. Don't mind what it is. Just make you cool. And let's move on. Leaving us with, at least for me and Sam, Sauber.
Sorry, guys.
Harry, what's your 3 words, mate?
Pray for Audi.
Sam?
Waste of emissions.
Also fair. Sign Teo Porsche.
Classic.
Harry, why do we need to pray for Audi?
They need to pray that Audi have all the money and all the resource to make a toaster into a car, because Sauber are not capable of kick, stake, whatever we call them, currently, and the current guys are not capable of it. And that car, I think that car might be one of the worst cars we've seen in the last, since the Manor days.
Sauber Manor,
yeah. Like 2015, 16 maybe.
Caterham would be proud.
It would be. They're doing the Caterham people. Tony Fernandez is really happy.
Finbar's just jumped through the roof.
Oh, Finbar. Yeah, they just need to pray that, again, for the same as Alpine this season, whatever, it's a write-off. They need to pray that everything's getting into place for Audi, because boy, do they need it.
Yeah, I've unsurprisingly gone with sign Teo Porsche.
Shock.
Yeah, fortunately for you all, I'll keep it fairly brief, but I just want to read out some names here. I'm going to read out the 7 youngest drivers to ever win the F2 championship, or GP2. Charles Leclerc, Nico Rosberg, Teo Porsche, Oscar Piastri, George Russell, Pierre Gasly, and Lewis Hamilton. It's a pretty good list. 6 of them have raced in F1. 6 of them have won races in F1. 2 of them are champions. 1 of them has never raced in the sport. That man is Teo Porsche. The resume, look at it. Goodness sake, Sauber. Sam?
Pack it in, don't bother, go home, turn up next year. Honestly, absolute waste of space. Wasting my time talking about them.
Wasting my time.
My time's very valuable, Sauber.
I've got better news. I just looked up. Scrap Heap Challenge apparently is going to be rebooted. But
are we the hosts?
No, but Robert Llewellyn,
Sauber.
the original host, he was saying it's going to be called Zap Heap Challenge because it's going to be focused on electric cars.
I hate that, though. I don't want that.
I don't want that. It's still scrap, but Zap.
Honestly, you sent me on a roller coaster ride there. You put me right up to the drop, and then I've been thrown down the hill. I've hated that.
Well, we're going to have a fight in the break, apparently. But on the other side, we've got some comments from Christian Horner on George Russell. Before we head into these comments from Christian Horner, Harry, mate, I have a real problem.
Uh-oh.
Oh, do you, mate?
I do.
Oh, what's the matter?
Have you ever had this real little conundrum, a real dilemma, where you absolutely love a podcast? I mean, properly love a podcast, and you want to show them some love. But I've got all these stars around me, and I just don't know what to do with them. Where can I leave them, Harry?
I wonder where this was coming, because we've not had a few reviews for a while, so I knew Ben was lining this up. Ben, I can tell you, I can solve all your problems, mate, because you can take your stars and you can slam them down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and leave a 5-star review for us. Boom. Boom, folks. Yes.
What should I write?
Pardon?
What should I write in that review?
Write whatever you want. You're a waste of emissions. I don't care. 5-star review. Zappy challenge. Any of the above will work.
I hate all of those things.
But as long as there's a 5-star, we don't care. Yes.
Baseline junkie.
It's a niche reference to a conversation we had earlier on. Yeah, folks, 5-star reviews, they really, really help us out because they make us, our podcast, our silly little podcast, visible on the podcast platforms. And that is helpful for us because then other people find us and listen. And that is what we need. Listeners, I think. Yep.
You've got it.
Oh, phew, nailed it. Yes, it really helps. You, as I say, you can, on Apple, you can leave 5-star reviews and write what you want. YouTube, subscribe, write in the comments, whatever, not whatever you want. And on Spotify as well, you can leave 5-star reviews and also answer our Q&As on there. So please do. Like I said, write whatever you want. Zappy challenge, waste of emissions, anything. Thank you in advance.
Absolutely love that. On to Christian Horner, because
That's not a
Mercedes
5-star
team
review.
boss.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, swift transition. Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff believes that Christian Horner is stirring poo up. He didn't say poo. By name checking George Russell as a future Red Bull option. He said, Christian Horner said, "Look, we're not afraid to go out of the pool. George Russell is out of contract at the end of next year. It would be foolish not to take that into consideration." Sam, is Christian Horner playing some games, or is this a serious option?
I mean, he's a little joker, isn't he?
Oh.
He loves a little joke. There's old Christian Horner. He's the rattle master, is Christian Horner. He absolutely loves getting under your skin.
The only thing he likes more than playing with people is Cocoa Pops.
Exactly. He loves Cocoa Pops.
Okay, move on.
Okay. All right. Anyway. Yeah, he's a little joker, he is. So he absolutely loves winding people up. So I think he's definitely got onto the fact that Toto Wolff's been having a couple of little digs recently about Mercedes. Mercedes and how they compare to Red Bull, how Red Bull are falling off the top here. But equally, I don't think Red Bull would look away from George Russell as an actual potential driver in the world of transfers that we've got at the moment. We've seen the disorganisation. We've seen the tumultuous times that they're going through. We've seen they don't know what driver should fit in where. George Russell, he could be quite good at the F1. He really is the burglar, and he feels like he's in a sauna and he's driving with oversteer and understeer. The guy is also a comedian with those radio messages, and Red Bull could do with a bit of a light-hearted touch. Honestly, they need something to go well their way. So, honestly, yeah, why wouldn't they consider him? Why wouldn't they look at him? I think it's a bit coy, a bit cheeky to bring it out into the media all of a sudden like that, and that bit I think is entirely because they've gone, one, I'll wind up Toto Wolff because that's just great banter. Two, maybe they've thought, has George Russell ever seriously considered that we might think he's a serious option? And by putting this into kind of the ether, into the world, have we kind of thought, oh, it might just be a little kind of earworm, might have just playing on the mind a little bit, that actually it's not impossible. I think it's quite a clever ploy, but at the end of the day, I think he's doing it to be a little cheeky bugger.
Is he being a cheeky little bugger, Harry?
He's been a right cheeky boy, isn't he? Ah. Yeah, I'm not mad at this at all from Christian Horner. Hey, firstly, why not? Why not say this? It's well known that Toto Wolff has been chirping Max Verstappen for a seat for a while now. And this is a bit of payback on that one. How serious about it he is, I don't know, but it's not the worst idea in the world for Red Bull, for Christian Horner. A 2026 lineup of, well, if they don't get Verstappen and Russell is pretty tasty. And if it's a swap with Verstappen, if he ends up going to Mercedes, then that's still, it's not a bad little swap. Yeah, so I kind of respect him putting it out there. And yeah, it was, they just love to wind each other up, those two. They're like the Hamilton and Alonso of team principals. They just wind each other up on a daily basis. So it's a bit of what gamesmanship there, but how serious it is, I'd remains to be seen. I also think this was, at the time we were watching this when we were on the TV, that he was being grilled about Daniel Ricciardo think there was a little bit of deflection in there to get the heat off and something else, because Nico Rosberg's eyes lit up when he said that. So I think there was a bit of that involved as well. But again, doesn't mean it's not a serious consideration. And yeah, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, this is one of those classic answers of it's both, isn't it? He's playing games, but at the same time, I think he's being deadly serious about this. Yeah, he should absolutely be considering George Russell. And it is quite clever of Christian Horner just to throw it in there, like quite nonchalantly, almost like a throwaway comment at the end of a question about someone else completely, because he wants George Russell to think that Red Bull could be on his rate. Like, he wants to make George Russell inadvertently aware that it could be an option for him. And I said it when we were giving our 3-word summaries about Red Bull, that they need to seriously consider what their future look like, because you've got Norris and Piastri at McLaren. That's a good lineup that could see you through for a number of years. Antonelli is now going to Mercedes. That's their future. Behrman is going to Haas, who eventually might well go to Ferrari. That's their future. Alonso, obviously, he's not going to go anywhere anytime soon because of Adrian Newey coming there. So you look at what the open market could be like at the end of 2025. There might not be that many options out there if you're someone like Christian Horner. So George Russell should be right towards the top of who you're considering. And look, I mean, the whole Verstappen thing, whether Verstappen does eventually move away to Mercedes, regardless of that, you know, as you kind of said, Harry, if Verstappen moves away, then you need to replace him. And even if he doesn't, that second seat is not secure by anyone at the moment. So I think him being considered works both ways. And from George Russell's perspective, and I think he is pretty sharp, and he should be sharp, because, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, if Antonelli matches him or very nearly matches him next year, and Verstappen wants to go to Mercedes, Russell's gone. He is not staying there. Toto Wolff will pick Verstappen and an upcoming Antonelli above George Russell. I am fairly convinced of that. In which case, George Russell needs to assess what options are out there for him. So we're still on Red Bull, actually, but they've had a lot of attention.
Oh, so much airtime this week. Bloody hell, boy.
Yeah,
come on,
sponsoring the show.
Yeah, well,
Blister.
no. Because another member of the team has left. This was actually referenced by you, Sam, on the last episode, but Will Courtenay has left the team to join McLaren as its new sporting director. He was chief strategist at Red Bull, and he was there for a very long time. So long, in fact, that when he started, the team wasn't called Red Bull. He started when the team was Jaguar over 20 years ago. So it's not like they're losing someone who's been in the building 5 minutes, Sam. This is a fairly big deal, is it not?
This is, it's like playing battleships, and they finally got the 5th one on the really long battleship. You suck my battleship. Red Bull have just been taking blow after blow this season. Honestly, outside of the racetrack, it has been a really tough time for Red Bull. The scandal with Horner, losing Newey, losing so many of their senior staff, and now they lose the guy that's essentially one of the founding fathers in some respects, if you're going to put it that way. The experience that this removes from their team, and not only removes, is going directly to the rival that's just overtaken them in terms of car progression, points scored, pretty driver lying up at this point. Genuinely, this could not have been a more difficult blow to absorb. It just shows you the state that Red Bull are in right now. They're going through such a difficult time. They can't seem to pull themselves together. Many years ago, when Mercedes were going through this dominant force, the amount of people that were jumping Mercedes and other neighboring teams to go to Red Bull, like, that was the build-up. That was the mounting. Everyone was climbing together. They were going to summit together, put their flag on the top, and be the champions. And you know what? They did that. They've achieved it. Then it has come crumbling down so quickly, because apparently that mounting was built on sand, and the tide's coming, and there ain't no foundations, and you're losing it all so quickly. Rome wasn't built in a day, but they bloody destroyed it fast enough. It is falling apart there, and this is one of the most difficult things that I think they could absorb, because I think they maybe thought they'd stemmed the flow. No, it's another one that's gone. Brilliant signing for McLaren. Absolutely sensational. To take Red Bull's head of strategy, one of Red Bull's strongest elements in terms of the sport. They've always been head and shoulders above their competitors when it comes to strategy maneuvers. So have such a sharp mind that understands the game so well. Go to someone like McLaren, who are clearly forming a brilliant culture. Brilliant signing. Absolutely stupendous signing. Really, think they pulled that one out of the bag.
If you look at recent times for Red Bull, obviously, as referenced, this isn't the first big time move away from Red Bull for someone who's been there a long time. If you look at him, Will Courtenay, you look at Jonathan Wheatley, you look at Rob Marshall, who's now at McLaren, and you look at Adrian Newey, who, of course, will be going to Aston Martin. Just four people, and they've all left this team within the last sort of 12 months or so. They have collectively worked for Red Bull for 75 years. It is ridiculous how much experience they have leaving their doors through just four people. And I think if it's one by itself, so like Jonathan Wheatley, I said at the time, I don't necessarily think that was down to Red Bull. I think that was an opportunity to be a team principal, which he was never going to get at Red Bull. Like if it's that one by itself, you just put that down to the ambitions of an individual. But four, again, this has happened within like 12 months. I think it speaks volumes. Also, at some point, we do just need to acknowledge that actually Adrian Newey is not the GOAT of F1. It's Rob Marshall. Man moves to McLaren and they're the GOATs. GOAT Marshall. That's what I'm calling it.
Yes. Come on, Rob.
Come on, Rob. F1 is the only sport where a guy called Rob Marshall could be the leading guy.
He sounds like he should be a scaffolder.
He is on the side.
Rob Marshall's everywhere, guys.
Yeah.
Come on, lads.
Yeah.
Do it for the Robs.
Big up, Rob. And the worst thing for Red Bull, I think, is not that these guys are left, but you'll remember when Jonathan Wheatley left not that long ago, Christian Horner set out on a plan of, okay, how do I rebuild the team from here? And there was very much an objective of restructuring the team. We know that GP Lambiasi, he's just had a promotion, so he's been putting all of these changes in the works, and you can just imagine that he's put down his pen like, right, that's it, that's the team. Whoa, boss, I'm thinking of leaving. God damn it! Like it couldn't be worse time for him. So back to the drawing board, I guess, for Christian Horner. But this is
watch Hannah Schmitz get promoted.
I mean, that's the obvious one, surely. Yeah,
I mean, you would think so, right?
Next week, Hannah Schmitz leaves for Ferrari.
Goodness me, do they need her?
Oh, yeah, obviously, that would be like God and Mary and Jesus all arriving.
Leclerc and Hamilton punch in the air. Yes!
I don't want that to happen because the minute she steps in the door at Maranello, her head would explode.
She's too good for that.
I think it would be then.
Good.
It would be when the first race on the pit wall and they're all trying to do ridiculous things. She's like, what?
What?
What are you trying to do?
One guy was making bolognese.
Just with a hob.
Is this correct, Hannah?
Plan L -4. We've got two plans. Plan A, 1 stop. Plan B, 2 stop. No, we don't like
I'm bringing
that.
the flour.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't do that to her. No.
Yeah, fair enough.
What are your thoughts on the move, Harry?
Yeah, I not too much more to say than what you guys said. I think the move and the other moves have to be seen in the context of what's happened. And there's a lot of depth at Red Bull. I still believe there is a lot of depth at Red Bull of people and talent, but they have lost a big chunk of talent and experience, as you said, Ben, with the amount of years they've combined to work there. And yeah, this one will hurt them, no doubt. And yeah, I'm sure Hannah Schmitz will take on the mantle very well. But it's got to sting a bit as well because he's gone off to McLaren, and as you said, Sam, I think it's a good signing. So yeah, there's clear. Look, it was F1 teams, they change all the time, and these sorts of things happen. You see it in the Ferrari when Schumacher left Ferrari in 2006. It was quite a mass exodus of people. Ross Brawn left the year after. Jean Todt also left. Rory Byrne also left. Like the whole team of people that left when Schumacher left. Or had been there, left when he left. And there wasn't an immediate downfall, but because obviously they won in 2007 and were there for constructors in 2008, but there's a decline. And I think it's not going to be an immediate Red Bull are done, but this is going to hurt because they're going to take some time. It's going to take some time for them to rebuild what they had in terms of that experience and talent. So I don't expect this to be like next year they can't do strategy anymore. In the same way next year that the car will be really slow. I just think we'll see this maybe in a year or two's time.
I think the Ferrari comparison is really interesting because you look at the prompts for similar things happening, say 15, 20 years apart. Do you think, like with Ferrari, it was very much centered around Schumacher's leaving? This is the end of the era, because that's not what's happening here, right?
Yeah, that's a valid. But Schumacher was going, and I think Ross Brawn obviously went at the same time, and it was end of era vibes, wasn't it? They'd been there for 10 years. You'd have to say in this scenario, Adrian Newey maybe is that the Schumacher character here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're all directly related, but when one goes, it makes other people think, and then they start to question and go, and other teams sense opportunities. Like, well, Ross Brawn did a year out fishing, but then he actually went to sign for Honda like a year, not even a year after. So other teams start to sniff opportunities when the old guard start to fall away. So there are similarities, but yeah, I'd maybe say Newey's that person in that scenario.
Okay, let's take the final break on this episode. On the other side, show me the options.
Way!
Nice.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for Show Me the Options.
Way!
Shut me my options!
I still think it could be the banger of the summer.
It's of the year.
It hits so hard. It slaps. So it will be arrested for how hard it slaps.
Sure.
Show me the options. There are 6 questions in front of me. Harry and Sam will go up against each other. Take it in turns for these questions. They have a choice. They can either try and answer the question as soon as they hear it, in which case they get it right, they get 2 points. But if they would like a little bit more help, they can say those immortal words, show me the options, at which point I will give them a multiple choice, 3 potential answers. If they pick the right one of those 3, they get 1 point. Of course, if they don't answer the question correctly at any point, no points. Sam, kick us off.
1, please.
1. Straight in there. Who has the most wins for McLaren?
That is a very good question, Ben. I like that you've asked it.
That's all right, mate.
I'm going to say it's show me my options time.
Way!
Your options are David Coulthard, Ayrton Senna, and Lewis Hamilton.
I'm going to Senna.
Senna is the correct answer. Well done. Senna, 35 wins. Hamilton, 21. Coulthard, 12. 12. That's disappointing.
Very, very similar to Ayrton Senna, one of the greats.
Yeah, very much so. Sam's on the board with 1 point. Harry, over to you.
Number 4, please.
Yep, your 5 out of 6 potential of getting that was good. Yep.
Great.
Who won the 1997 European Grand Prix?
You've got this, mate.
It was.
This is Harry Eid Ali. You own this. You own this drink.
I'll give it 3 seconds and then the light bulb goes.
Mika Hakkinen.
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah, the microwave finished. Yeah. We've heated up and the door's open.
I am Alonso.
Yes, it was Mika Hakkinen. Well done. Of course, Villeneuve and Schumacher had a little coming together, and I don't remember whose fault that was. Harry, do you?
50-50 actually.
Audacity.
Oh, we're dive bombing him for. Come on, Jacques.
Hey, I mean, that incident was very similar to the Hamilton Verstappen one in Hungary, I'll have you know. You see people make comparisons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Right, Harry takes the lead, 2-1. Sam, back to you.
Number 2.
Who is the oldest living F1 champion?
Oh, bloody hell. Fittipaldi.
Fitto.
It's not the correct answer.
No.
You are very unfortunate, but you'll be glad you didn't say show me the options, because one of your options would have been Fittipaldi.
Okay, that always makes me feel better than it is the one I was going to say, so fine.
Is it Kimi Raikkonen?
Kimi Raikkonen at 96 is correct. No, it is actually... Harry, any of this?
No. I probably wouldn't have Fittipaldi.
Jackie Stewart.
Oh, of course.
Oh, he's older than Fitto, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Jackie Stewart, 85. Fittipaldi is 77. So, Harry, back to you.
Number 6, please.
Number 6. Which driver raced the most seasons before becoming a champion?
Show me my options.
Your options are Niki Lauda,
Niki Lauda,
Mika Hakkinen, and Dr. Nigel Mansell.
Sorry, because I was going to say Jenson Button.
I would say Jenson Button.
Who is this? Oh, Hakkinen or Dr. Nige. Is it Mansell?
It is Mansell, you're right. Yeah, 13 seasons before he won the championship. Button, I think, would have been about 9, something like that.
Yeah, 2000 to 2009. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and he missed 1 year, right? So that would be 10 seasons minus 1 for 9, I think. He wasn't one of the options I've written down.
JB missed a year.
Did he miss a year?
I don't think so.
Did he not? Did he do 01?
Yeah, he was in a Benetton.
Ah, yeah, he was, wasn't he?
I bet I told you.
Yeah.
He's not the right answer anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Relevant conversation.
Completely irrelevant. So, yeah, that is another point. 3-1. Back to you, Sam.
3.
Number 3. Where did Lewis Hamilton qualify for his first ever race in F1?
Oh, bloody hell. P4.
Bang on, sir. P4 is right. Yeah, had a pretty good start at that Australian Grand Prix, didn't he?
It did, yeah. I couldn't remember if he was front row or not, but yeah, P4.
Which means we are now at 3-3.
Goodness me.
We go back to Harry.
Number 5. Number 5, please, Ben.
Number 5. Who is the youngest podium sitter of all time?
You only need 1 point to win it, mate.
I'll show me my options.
Yeah, so it's the clever mathematical play. Well done.
Yeah, well done.
Your options are Lance Stroll, Max Verstappen, and Fernando Alonso.
One of these is not like the other.
I'm going to say Verstappen.
It is Verstappen. It's only just Verstappen, though. I didn't actually write down the dates, but Stroll very nearly got it. But it was Verstappen.
Yeah, they very nearly got nothing else either.
Yeah, I mean, Verstappen's was a win as well, so it's more impressive.
That's fair.
That Spain race really was something special at the time.
But I thought about this the other day. What a bizarre thing to happen. He literally, that's his first race for the team, and he won it.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like they were the favourites either. He just turned up and won it. It was amazing.
Fortunate that Mercedes imploded, but still. Anyway.
I haven't seen that race in a long time.
Maybe that's a Patreon historic race. I know we're banned from doing anything that's not.
You know what? No, I've seen too many Verstappen wings in the Patreon.
Yeah, there's no more.
No
more. None allowed. It'd be a shame if we went too far back and saw one of Jos. No, never mind. You didn't have any.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Right, so Harry takes a close win. Good fought game. They won 4-3 in the end.
Love that. That was a good show of my options.
Well done. That's going to do it, I think, for this episode.
Came out there for a moment.
Oh, of course not. I was getting ready for. I'm so confused about what day. It's not actually Sunday when we record this, folks. I was about to get ready for a question of the week, but it's a Sunday, so never mind.
Sunday
question of the week twice in 1 week.
No, I've gone off the rails.
That might be the banger. Anyway,
would you calm down?
Yeah, lunatic.
God. Sam, can you guess out of it?
Folks, you know where to leave your reviews. Slap those stars down and say Zap Peep Challenge for you know, lots of electricalised fun. Discord, links in the description. Join it. Have a good time. Come and chat with us. Patreon's available. If you think, I missed Formula 1, what do I do? Join Patreon. There's loads of stuff in there.
Oh, great, yeah. Insult everyone. I'm talk like this because I'm in the Discord.
Someone does talk like that, though. I don't know, but someone would.
I see. See, someone in the one was. Yeah, it's you.
wasn't making it an insulting way. Loads of content on there. Viewer breaking, historic races, 2 extra episodes. We're going to record one of those this week. Power rankings, everything's ad free. Birthday shout outs on your specific month if you're in the right tier. Loads and loads of stuff. Check it out. It massively helps us out more than you realistically know. So thank you to everyone that already does. Please have a look. Follow us on social, Late Breaking F1. Instagram be booming recently, so head on over there. Check out the great old content. TikTok as well. If you're on a doom scroll or you think, oh, I'm on TikTok all the time, well, add our lovely faces to your screen. YouTube is available, Late Breaking F1. This has been recorded, and we're going to say thank you very much for listening and goodbye. In the meantime, I've been Samuel Sage.
I've been Ben Hocking.
And I've been Harry Eade.
And remember, keep breaking late.
Way.